Okay, so 3/4 of, oh wait, no, that's 3 cups of oil. We got to get it to a rolling simmer. All right, then we need, I don't know, a gallon of unpasteurized whipped cream. What? Yeah, I'm doing the recipes from the cookbook. Oh man. Yeah, no, you're right. This is the wrong cookbook. Steve Wenner here from GetRubix.com, and today is going to be our first recipe walkthrough. We're going to pick one of the recipes from the Microsoft Intune Cookbook, and that is going to be all about Windows updates, basically creating the profiles and how to automate them. I mean, you got to be specific, right? I chuck this thing like a burrito. Remember we talked about that? To get started with these recipes, I want to call out a few things that you're going to need and make sure you have them ready. First thing is going to be, we are going to head to the GitHub site. Okay, and this is going to, these are all the files that are used in the book, right? So, and we might change some stuff in here because there's some default values, but we want to be able to reference this. So go ahead and bookmark this. I'll put a link below. And I'm going to make a new folder, my desktop, and I'm going to call it Cookbook Recipes. Just so anything I decide to make for myself can be in there. Okay, the last thing we'll need, if you have it, is the Kool-Aid Man. It's not required, but it's strongly recommended. Okay, so we're going to talk today about Windows updates for business, building the update rings. So here in Intune, we're going to go to devices. Okay, we go to Windows update rings for Windows 10 and later, and I took the liberty of cleaning out everything I have just for you folks to show you how to do this. So let's start by talking about how Windows update rings work. I'm going to throw up this chart right here from the book, and basically Windows updates just don't fall out, right? They go through a ringed approach. So starting at pre-release, right? Because release is when it goes to retail, which is when the update's available for everyone. But an update goes through several phases. So it starts with the dev channel, right? This is the earliest release. So if you look at the suggested users for this, this would be, I usually call it IT, even within IT, highly technical users who have maybe a test machine, right? So we're not interrupting production activity. This should absolutely be device based because you do not want this to affect a user who has multiple devices, right? So highly technical IT, and these are the very latest builds in their early stages, right? So the Windows update is created. This is early. We're still looking for issues, still looking for remediation. It's the beginning of the feedback loop. And of course, the concern here is it could crash. It could ruin stuff, right? They're gonna have more updates as they're gonna release patches constantly in this build. This is they're cooking at this phase, so prepare for a lot of reboots and stuff like that. Also, some things might go away; they might not be there. So if you're looking at a specific feature and maybe you're planning for this to be in a broader release, just keep in mind that it might not make it in ultimately in the end. Now, I will say some folks don't even start here, right? You could skip this altogether because depending on how early you want to get, how many resources, you might not have the resources to deal with this. So it's okay to skip this channel. The beta channel is where I would recommend most folks start it, for any pre-release build if they want to have an insight as to what's coming. So talking about what this is for, this is still IT staff, but I think you go a little broader. I would say it's your more technical savvy folks. I would keep it in IT. I don't think this necessarily has to be relegated to test machines. I think it would be a good idea to run this for an idea of production. Generally a beta, the beta channel is close to the full release with some possible issues that haven't been sorted out yet. So it's still going to give you a good idea of what's to come. You're going to get to validate early to test your apps and your policies. You're mitigating a lot of the concerns from the dev build. So I would say this is almost your first real pilot. If this were they call it beta. Consider the dev and the other one to be the alpha. The release preview channel. This is just the update as it's going to be rolled out. It is just it's like the final release, but a preview. So it's going to be a few weeks before. This is a very common build to be on for those of us who want to be cutting edge. This is the build I tend to be on. I think this is okay to deploy outside of IT, right? You could do this to power users, friends of IT. It'll give us the best picture of what broad deployment is going to look like. And it's a fully supported build. So I don't think there are, I would agree with this statement saying there's no concerns over the standard release. All right, so let's switch to this chart now. This one could go away and bring in this other chart. How do we release these, right? What's that schedule? So your pilot ring, which essentially would start at the beta we looked at. This is if you're not doing the dev channel, and I'll show you both options. So if we're not doing a dev channel, it starts at beta, and deferral refers to how long you're waiting. So on these devices, you could set these to 0, meaning as soon as the beta release is available, it's going to your pilot update ring, which again is your more savvy IT folks who have, test devices. The preview ring, which is the final build, but, a little earlier, you can do a 7-day deferral on that to actually launch. I think that's fair. Some folks you might want to go a little longer. You might want to give yourself 2 weeks after the pilot grace period in there to do that. But again, it all depends on when that's going to drop. And of course, your broad ring is your full retail copy, and you can choose when this goes live. Now, I will say most folks here, anywhere from 10 days to I wouldn't go more than 30 on this. You definitely want to get the newer updates out there faster, right? The days of cherry picking updates and waiting long gaps of time, that's an attack vector. So you do want to get them out there. Now the VIP ring, generally folks who you don't want phone calls from, C-level VPs, things like that. Almost these are like the blackout updates, right? Where you kind of want to avoid these, although we want to change that behavior. So, there's technical and then there's culture, but whatever. So, with the VIP ring, generally I see 30 days there, right? Just, you want them to be at the end. Let everyone else in the organization go through it, make sure it's nice and clean and you're not having problems, and then go from there. So let's take a look at how we configure this in Intune. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and I am going to start with my pilot ring. Pilot ring, and I'm going to give it a number, 0. That's my 0 ring. And I'm going to basically say this is beta release for IT users with test PCs. So what does all this essentially mean? Okay, so right up top, Microsoft product updates. Okay, this has to be enabled. If this is off, Windows Update just won't work. So let's make sure that should not be allowed to be turned off in this policy, although you can. Windows drivers. Okay, so the way Windows drivers works is there are certain critical drivers to the machine. These are generic from Windows that will apply. This is good for like network cards, audio drivers, things like that. It's also helpful because they will pick up some OEM drivers as well, although that's a whole other conversation when we talk about driver update policy. So your choice. I'm going to leave it on allow. And just so you know, if you were to change one of these, they switch to purple. So very easily you can see what you changed and, put it back. So the actual update deferral, right? The quality is the specific number of days after the patch release is when you will get the update. So when we're talking about a pilot update, we want this to be 0 because we want it immediately. Feature update deferral is, so as far as feature update deferrals go, notice I haven't talked about these. We're going to leave these at 0 because in the future, we're going to talk about feature updates. And when I say feature updates, I'm referring to 22H2, 23H2, right? Big releases. So these are not the monthly updates, and these can be handled now directly. So we're going to put that at 0. Down here, pretty straightforward. Do you want this to flip your devices to 11? Yes or no? This is going to be a separate conversation when we talk about Windows 11 updates, but just know that if this is set to yes, it's going to put you on 11. That's not a bad thing. It's actually the easiest way to do it. So next up, we have the feature uninstall period, 2 to 60 days. What does that mean? How many days are you allowed to roll back? Basically, it's how long will Windows hold on to that cache of the old update. If you've ever done this with your personal machines and you roll back, you can do this. So you just have to determine how long to wait. The default's 10 days, totally up to you. I see I'm going to do 7, given that this is a test ring. We're going to live on the edge. Pre-release builds. We are going to need the pre-release builds for this pilot group here. So the pre-release channel I want to do, and remember, this is what we talked about. We're not going to do dev in this case. I can do dev separately if I want to get, the earliest, but I'm going to start with beta here. So this will allow me to get the beta configured, and I'll get it as soon as it drops. So I'm still not messing around with dev channel, so I'm going to save my staff some time. Okay, so one thing that's also important to consider is update behavior. So if I have things set to auto install at maintenance time, it's going to be, maintenance is the opposite of active hours. So if my active hours are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. local time, the update is going to go ahead and push itself anytime after or before that. However, you can change this to either notify someone to download manually. You can have it install and do the restart automatically outside of these hours. The other thing you can do is you can pick scheduled times. So if I decided to say, hey, I want this to automatically do updates the second week of the month on a Tuesday at a scheduled time, maybe 10 p.m., right? It'll go ahead and do that. Now, if you were to go ahead and set it to auto install at a scheduled time and reboot without end user control, right? This is just gonna plow through, and probably don't want to do this unless you do not like the folks in your organization, because that's just gonna plow through and reboot, and they don't have a say in it, and we don't want that. So I'm gonna recommend either auto and one of the 3 options here. I'm gonna leave mine alone at the auto install and at the maintenance time. Okay, well, this just gives the user the ability to pause updates for a certain number of days, and we'll get to that. So if we want to allow this, and we should, right? I think user experience is important, empowering users, so let's keep that on. This is my beta ring, so I don't care that much. Allowed to check for updates? Sure. There's nothing wrong with having a user going and checking for updates. Now, what is the change notification update level? So you get to determine here how this works. You can use the default Windows notifications, what I would recommend. You can suppress everything excluding restart warnings. So you won't see any notifications unless the device is going to restart. Or you can just turn off all notifications for business. I would say leave this alone for now, right? This is kind of not the crux of what we're going with. Let's talk about deadline settings. So basically you're looking at before the time and after the time. The deferral is how long until I get it. The deadline is how long until you must have it. So again, for feature, we're going to leave this at 0 because we do not want to interfere with the feature update rings. Now for the quality, I think it depends, right? So again, because this is a beta channel, I'm going to put this on 0. Grace period is any time after that. I am going to give a day on this, and can I auto reboot before the deadline? So I'm going to allow it to auto reboot. All right. If we're using scope tags, we can do that. But in this case, we're just going to assign to groups. Well, what groups am I using? Let's come back to this in a second. So I'm going to create that. Okay, so in groups, I'm going to make a new group, and I'm going to create the name Windows Update Ring. Windows Update. Call this Pilot Ring 0. So I did the preview ring, which is the preview release build. Then we have the broad ring, which is the retail after 10 days, and then the VIP ring. Notice that they're all assigned because I'm going to pick and choose who goes in here, except the broad ring. The broad ring is dynamic, meaning this will go to essentially all my autopilot devices that are not in the other group. So we have to finagle this a little bit to do it right, because the dynamic membership rule is device.device physical IDs, and he starts with order ID M365. So for me, that is my autopilot group tag that all my builds are going to have. So this basically says if you're not in one of these other groups, you're going to be in here, and that we're going to have to do manually. So let's go take a look. Okay, so with the rest of my update rings created and assigned, let's talk about just how they're applied. So the pilot ring is applied to the Windows Update pilot ring group, right? Very simple. The preview ring, this might shock you, is applied to the Windows Update preview ring group. Same thing with the VIP ring. Now the broad ring, because this is dynamic and set to go to everyone, and you can see here, when I hit edit next to assignments, it's already grabbing 21 devices, but it will exclude the devices in these 3 groups because these are specialized groups, so I don't want them caught up in it. So what this does is this allows me to place devices in those groups that will be my test devices, my preview devices, and I don't have to worry about the broad deployment affecting those. So kind of just going over what we have here, right? We have 4 distinct update rings for our Windows updates that are just going to automatically roll out. I don't have to come in and touch them. And we have a way to assign different devices to different groups. Windows update rings are always one of the more transformational pieces of modern management, right? We go from this world where we're cherry picking updates and testing them, and we determine when to push them, to just saying, hey, here's my policy, here's how I want updates coming down, and just let it flow, right? Again, think about your phones and tablets, right? This is exactly how we handle it. And, regardless of folks out there who still want to have, more granular control over updates, that's a massive attack vector, right? So we can't just allow devices to be unpatched. So this is kind of a set it and forget it approach. And, this particular recipe calls out a great strategy for doing this. So if you don't have the book, make sure you grab a copy below. That's an affiliate link. So I think if you buy it through here, you support the channel, and they send me some pennies or something. I'm not too sure. Maybe it's a new car. I haven't read any fine print, but either way, check it out. Links below. Later. 5, 4, 3.